Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another in the series Curating Culture, hosted by the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank. I'm Georgia Maglashan Miller, your host and research fellow at the Institute. Today, we will be talking about the virtual exhibition, Sugar, the Bittersweet Taste of Past and Present. This is an exhibition that explores the depths of the sugarcane industry in Jamaica, and it highlights both the historical and the contemporary uses of sugar in the Jamaican society. Also, as my guests today, I have two persons from the National Museums Jamaica, Zoie O'Sullivan and Roael Cooke. Could you kindly introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, my name is Zoie O'Sullivan. I am Curatorial Assistant at National Museums Jamaica.
And my name is Roael Cooke, a graphic artist and preparator at National Museums Jamaica.
The inspiration for the exhibit emerged from a smaller display I had originally erected at the lecture hall for the Living Histories of Sugar performance that was in October of 2022. This initial display was strategically placed at the entrance to the lecture hall so that guests could interact with it before the performance itself. Some of the artifacts that were selected for this exhibition were copper steel, sugar mold, etc. This served as an engaging complement to the performance, offering guests a visual and historical context to enhance the experience. This display was so well received by the audience that the next day, Shanika Mullings, Artifact Officer, National Museums Jamaica, suggested that the display could be expanded into a virtual exhibition. And I must pause to say that it's really Shanika's idea. And if I can put it in terms of agriculture, forgive me if I get it wrong, let's say that she gave me the seed, I planted it, watered it, nurtured it, fertilized it, and my editors, Alexis, Sharifa, Romaine, and Miss Kerry-Ann Watson, they pruned it, and then Roael Cooke was the landscaper on the entire project. Now, Shanika suggested it to be a virtual exhibition due to space constraints and limited resources, and this suggestion was a very useful option. At first, I hesitated. My main concern was, am I going to adequately address such a monumental and complex topic? But there was a need and a gap for it, so I decided that I was going to embrace the suggestion and do a concise exhibit which could be added to in future years. I embarked on an extensive exploration of potential themes, conducting thorough field research, meticulously combed through relevant texts, crafted compelling scripts, and thoughtfully planned the layout, design, and lighting elements of the virtual space. With the invaluable assistance from the devoted team at the National Museums Jamaica, I dedicated nearly 2 years to the development and realization of the virtual exhibition. Sugar today is often perceived merely as a common pantry staple, something that holds little value beyond its taste. However, this exhibition seeks to challenge that perception by emphasizing the crop's rich history and multifaceted cultural significance. Sugar, the bittersweet taste of past and present, is the byproduct of when lack of resources meets creativity. With a virtual space, you're only bound by the capacity of your imagination, as opposed to the various limitations that can occur with a physical space. So for example, we have a space within the virtual exhibit, which is in the form of a sugarcane field.
And we're going to be bringing up that scene on camera now, the virtual exhibition.
Now this space specifically, I wanted people to have an actual feel of going through a sugarcane field. We added the rain, so it's more psychological, that you can feel that you're actually going through a sugarcane field. Now, this would have been much harder to create with a physical space, and we would not have had the same result that this achieved. The narrative surrounding sugar remains largely unexplored in such an engaging format, while underlining its importance in understanding the cultural, historical, economical, and social narratives woven into the fabric of Jamaican society. The topics for the exhibition were thoughtfully divided into 8 areas of focus, with each topic being presented as a different room within the virtual space. Each section features a detailed storyboard that expounds on the central theme of the space. Metaphorically, these sections represent the 8 critical stages that the sugarcane undergoes from its introduction to the island through to the end products derived from it. Mindful of audiences who may not necessarily want to read storyboards, but want information on the spaces, we integrated a narrative approach featuring audio characters Amali and Akena.
So that is Amani and Akena we're seeing on the screen now.
Yeah,
this one is Akena?
Yeah, this one is Akena.
Okay, and we are able to hear what Akena is saying?
Well, we let you hear him further down in the...
What language is he speaking?
Well, we gave him a Nigerian accent.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Nice.
And then this is Amali.
Hello.
She has a South African accent. We know that the enslaved didn't come from South Africa.
From that part of Africa.
But when we were testing accents to add to the AI characters, hers was the clearest African accent
Okay.
of all that we tested. So that's why we went with that choice.
Okay.
These characters were developed by Roael Cooke, talented graphic designer and proprietor at National Museums Jamaica, utilizing AI technology. This feature allows viewers to listen to informative narratives, providing a more interactive component that deepens engagement with each section's content. Key topics within the exhibition include the lived experiences of enslaved workers in the sugar industry, an overview of sugar estates across Jamaica from the 17th century to the present, and the nutritional aspects of sugarcane, fostering a holistic understanding of the crop's significance. The exhibition artifacts represent a diverse collection of items currently displayed at the Appleton Estate in St. Elizabeth, as well as those housed within the National Museums collection. These artifacts span various stages of sugar production, providing tangible connections to the industry's history and its practices. Presenting the exhibition as a virtual experience is particularly significant. This enables us to bridge cultural divides and also geographical ones, reaching a global audience. This format allows individuals to engage with the exhibition from the comfort of their homes, at their leisure, removing the constraints associated with traditional operating museum hours. This initiative aims to modify access to culture and education, empowering viewers to submerge themselves in the insightful narrative of sugar and its essential role in shaping Jamaican identity and history. It is important to understand colonial legacy. It is important to understand the economic foundations of the country that you occupy, as it is crucial for comprehending the modern implications of historical events and actions. A thorough exploration of sugar facilitates a deeper understanding of the roots of numerous social and economical dynamics that have shaped Jamaica from historical to contemporary times. We created a space intended to promote meaningful dialogue around the topic of identity while preserving and sharing historical knowledge. By leveraging technology for historical education, we have endeavored to make the exhibition entirely accessible and inclusive to diverse audiences. And we will give you a short walkthrough of the tour, and I'll just explain some of my thought processes in creating some of these selected spaces. And by the way, this exhibition is currently housed on the National Museums Jamaica's website, so you can view it at your leisure.
All right, so while Mr. Cooke gets into the virtual exhibition, and you're going to talk us through while he goes to the different section, you explain to us how the idea came about. And you know, I know you had the launch. How long ago was the
It was
launch?
on October 9, so maybe
probably
a month ago.
Probably about a month ago. So even though the launch was that recent, we could see that as an academic, theoretical, perspective, because we had different presentations and different presenters, both virtual and in person. But us hosting this segment on Curating Culture is for the wider audience, the wider public, and especially our school demography, our students, that very often they don't get to visualize it in this way. The textbooks are limited, and as you spoke about the time constraints, our students can go on at their own leisure and look at it. And I don't think we talk about sugar enough. And we talk about probably the adverse effects of sugar and how it affects our diet and thing. But as the whole, sugar as an economic source is like deeply woven into our historical fabric. We don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, so that's where the gap was reflected, and we decided that we were going to, do something to fill it. We get questions all the time from guests. If we have any exhibition that is catered towards enslavement and sugar, and we didn't. We have a few items displayed in one particular display case, a vitrine in Port Royal, but I don't think that is enough.
Okay. So are you ready for us, Mr.?
Yeah, man.
All right, so go ahead, take us through the exhibition.
All right, so this is the introduction to the tour itself. So this is the opening, and the lighting in this area acts as foreshadowing, like the instrumental in the trailer. I didn't want it to be a bright and sunny feel, as topics discussed aren't all bright and sunny. Oh, sorry. By the way, we are introduced to Akena and Amali, so I'll let you hear them.
Hello, my name is Akena. Thank you for visiting our exhibition titled Sugar, the Bittersweet Taste of Past and Present.
Go ahead.
Your journey through the spaces today will explore a range
our
of
tour
topics
guides
surrounding the sugarcane plant and how it helped to build the island that we now know as home, Jamaica land we love.
Hello, my name is
All
Emma.
right, I'm going ahead now.
Thank you for visiting our exhibition titled Sugar,
All right, we're
the
going
Bittersweet
ahead.
Taste of Past and Present. Your journey through the spaces today will explore a range of topics surrounding the sugarcane plant and how
we're
it
having
helped
a
to build
little
the island that we now know
knocking.
as home, Jamaica land
Okay.
we love.
All right, so in this section, it's supposed to reflect a duskish feel. because at dusk, most people will go over the day that they had. It's a period of reflection for most people. So that's the symbolism of this space, and I wanted to evoke the feeling of reflection before you enter the actual space. Now this is our Great House section, and it has to do with the different estates that were on the island, with most of them being closed presently, and Appleton Estate being one of the longest continuous running sugar estates on the island. Each section of the house has different rooms with pictures of old sugar estates appearing on the walls of the Great House, which is clickable, and information pops up about the pictures. Now, this is drone footage from Appleton Estate. So when we did our field research stage of this exhibition, we got a chance to see some of the land that they use for planting. Now, we went there when they had already done some of the harvesting there. So this is just a small part of what they do have. And then when we come out of this house, we are going to be entering into, so this is the back of the Great House where we would have where the enslaved would be housed. We know that most enslaved were behind Great Houses at the back of the property. So that's the significance of why we put this there. And then behind that, we have, this space is dedicated to the implements that were used to punish the enslaved workers. And in the vitrines, when you click on them, the captions there, a caption will come up and it gives you more information on what you're looking at in the vitrine. The boiling house was a fundamental part of the sugar making process, and I had to find a way to incorporate that into the tour. I don't feel as if I would have done justice to the tour without its inclusion, so I made it dedicated to the tools used in the making of sugar section. It is a little brighter in this section of the exhibit, as this topic is somewhat lighter than certain others discussed. For example, when we were in the section behind the enslaved house, it was raining and it was a lot darker than here, so that added to the despondency of the topic being discussed in that section. But in this section, the tools that we are seeing, those would be used in the different stages of sugar production, and they are both from the National Collection and some that are currently on display at Appleton Estate in St. Elizabeth. So that is a taste of our tour.
Okay, that is a taste of our bittersweet sugar.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is very impressive. I mean, I've only seen virtual tours like this from art galleries. And you know, I am proud to know that the National Museums Jamaica, as a division of the Institute of Jamaica, has something like this for the public at large and for our students, because as you mentioned, it is on the National Museums Jamaica website free of access.
Free of charge, yeah.
Right. So as long as you have connectivity, you can go on and look at it. But I have a few questions about the exhibition itself.
Sure.
And about the topic of sugar. So we said that the exhibition talks about the influence of sugarcane on the Jamaican society, both historically and in contemporary times. We know historically sugar is interwoven into our enslaved past and the plantations. I remember one conference I attended where I think it was Professor Michelle was talking about the impact of plantations on climate change in Jamaica. The fact that there was this gross deforestation just to plant sugar canes that influenced the intensity of natural disasters and hurricanes in Jamaica and across the Caribbean. I don't know if in your research or in any part of the virtual exhibition those things came up.
It was not in the exhibition itself, but for future we can add sections to the exhibit that will include it.
Yeah, because sometimes we only talk about sugar in terms of health.
Yeah.
You know, we don't talk about how it affected the landscape and the environment. Because when I heard that, I was like, what? Deforestation, climate change, and then we have more severe hurricanes because of the deforestation. So that was a part of it. For the other estates that we know about, we know that very often the enslaved were buried in the same sugar plantations. Or we don't get that extreme in the virtual exhibition.
No, because we didn't want to go too, we wanted to make it PG.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you rightly said, we are catering to school audiences as well. So knowing that we also dumbed down some of the language, sorry.
Make it
we
simpler. Yeah.
So, you know, make it easier to understand for people who are not necessarily high school age children, because it's not going to be high school only. So yeah.
So Mr. Cooke, the creative that put an image to everything that was on text. Walk us through your process and some of the things that stood out to you or some of the things that you'd want to share.
Well, the process first of all comes start first with research, because really and truly without research I don't know exactly what to put together. And then we have to go through a level of research, not just by what we see in textbooks, but basically going to the spaces where, you know, our ancestors at this point in time were being. That way we can actually see what they actually went through, see how the environment would stay. That would help to inspire the design and putting everything together from that standpoint.
Okay.
So I think that is where it first starts off with research, and then after research, start collecting like images and everything like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, collecting images like that.
Yeah.
Then we can say, okay, how do we replicate them? Replicate them in that visual standpoint and everything. So I would say, in a sense, from the research we put together what we call like a mood board or a collective of images, and say from that, how can we recreate what we have seen, and how to recreate that way the viewers can actually experience this in that particular way, that they can actually feel like they have taken a step back in time.
Okay.
So that's basically, that's where we're starting from, start point from.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I don't know if this is a question from the audience, but they would like to know what's the developing software that you use. I don't know if we're at liberty to share that.
Well, softwares, first of all, yes, there's I use a slew of softwares to actually capitalize what I want. So for example, knowing that we need to capture all of this put it together in a museum space, I would first start off with, like, for example, an architectural software. Design the building, what we're planning to host this museum in, this experience, and how people will actually go through it and everything. So software will be like architectural softwares. That would be a starting point. Put together the space where we actually have to design, because I would take it as how I actually work my day-to-day at the National Museums Jamaica. We have this building, how can we put an exhibition within this building? So first of all, with the freedom what we have, we create that virtual space and then we compile a piece. So first of all, there's an architectural softwares, what we start, that's the starting point of that. And then you have softwares where actually, after you do like you after you have created that space, you create like your renders. Renders are like your panoramic type of pictures. Panoramic pictures is what we put together, stitch together to actually create that virtual world where you can actually put on the goggles and look around in that virtual. So it gets a little bit technical.
Yes.
But the starting point is basically the architectural
So
software.
you use several softwares.
I use several softwares.
Okay. So do you think that this is probably the way forward for museums, having virtual exhibitions?
It is a way forward, yes. And first of all, let's put out there, it is not to replace what we already have, because a lot of people fear that we might actually replace the existing
face to face.
Yes, face to face. But it's not to replace that, but to add to that. Because now we're looking at how can we share our culture across borders.
Well, my people in-house will tell you that my question would be, how do we monetize these things? Because there's a cost to access a lot of galleries and virtual spaces online, especially when you're getting the best information. And we know that brand Jamaica and things of Jamaican origin, especially our Afro-Jamaican heritage, is sought after worldwide to use to authenticate many things in other spaces. So a cost is something that I think should be attached, to appreciate the value of the information that we get.
Yes,
but that's just me.
No, we can put up like paywalls. Like the good thing about being that it's on the digital platform, we can actually put up paywalls where we only expose a certain amount of information.
Okay.
So basically, when you go, for example, you click on an artifact brings up an information.
Right.
You only can get a limited amount of information, and then if they would want more, they can actually pay for access to all that information. Yes.
Okay. So do you plan to have other virtual exhibitions?
Curating?
Mr. Sullivan look like not yet. All right, think about it for a while.
In the future, but not right now.
Okay. One of the questions I wanted to ask, since the launch was approximately a month ago, what has the interaction been like? Is there anyone checking views? How are the calls in the office? Anybody asking you to come and make a special presentation for their office? Anything like that?
Well, actually today we actually had a guest from Ottawa in Canada. She actually came to the museum because she thought this was a physical space. So that's one of the things that has happened with this presentation.
So with that then, are there any plans to make it a real exhibition, since people think they can come and touch and feel?
Well, why we actually did this as a virtual exhibition is because we don't have the necessary physical space one, and the funding too.
Okay.
So we can do as much as we want to with a virtual exhibition, but there are limitations to what we can do with a physical space.
So are all the artifacts real in the sense of they were photographed and placed in it, as if are all the artifacts can be found at the National Museums Jamaica and at the Appleton Estate, or were there any you have to take offline to put in the virtual display? Because
they're at the museum. They're at the museum, and actually
all of them are
Appleton,
real.
Yes. So you actually can come down and visit and see these artifacts.
Okay.
But some of the artifacts that we have in the national collection, they're not currently on display. So
but we do have them in our collection, our vast collection.
Okay.
Everything. So yeah.
So do we have any more questions from our online audience? Okay, how challenging was it to develop this exhibition?
Well, we faced numerous challenges. One was finding collaborators. Another was as a curatorial assistant, sometimes I'd be in the middle of doing, writing a script or something like that, and I'd be interrupted to, conduct a tour, things like that. Sometimes it was difficult to convince Roael to, make up a particular space. So that was one of my challenges. Roael?
Yes. And tell us about how long was the process for you? Because I don't want to say that your part is more difficult, but because I couldn't do what you do, I want to think that it's the...
Okay, so the process due to research, because I said research is what guides the design. The process was it was somewhat difficult because you're trying to capture on what the viewer would like to see, to experience. And for this, it actually took, between everything, took up to 2 years.
Wow.
Yes, because it's like you do prototypes. You do like a first instance.
I was not expecting that number.
Because you want to be somewhat authentic.
Right, and you want to give the right information.
Yeah, the right information and everything, because you don't want to just design something for something's sake, and it is historically wrong,
right,
and all those type of things. So it really does take a lot of researching.
Wow.
And from that concept and rewriting, because funny enough, we actually had a first draft, which we thought was okay, that's good, man. But then when we presented it and everything, I was like, okay, it's too short.
Crap that.
Okay.
Yeah, it missing out a lot of stuff.
So who were the editors? Is that what you would call them? Or the proofreaders?
Well, we at National Museums, we work together, so that was our test audience.
Which are curators as well, who also
that's good.
Yeah.
So it's a group of
So
us.
we work as a good team there.
And then as well as you have the IT people, we had to work along with IT, because at the same time, on the back end, which a lot of people don't take into consideration, when we're doing the renders, we have to make sure that the end product can actually fit properly on the server and efficiently can go through it smoothly.
That is why
without
you
having
are
glitches.
here.
Yes.
That is
so
why you are
it's
here.
not just curators, but you have also the IT people. You have to actually, carry it to and say, okay, then can you handle this? If the people access the website, will it flow smoothly for them with the glitch and everything like that? Because if you go to the website and have those glitches, nobody's going to be interested.
True.
And then before night, all is lost in terms of what you have done.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? All right. Well, thank you very much for coming, Zoie and Roael. I think it's quite an impressive virtual exhibition, and I am proud to feel attached to it, even by extension. To say that we are another division in the Institute of Jamaica, but it's efforts like these and exhibition like these that helps to put back the Institute of Jamaica in the pride of place that we are supposed to be as the knowledge bearers, in Jamaica, with Jamaica history and, Jamaican just culture that we should have, and people should know that we are here to always provide good, research. Well, the word research was used so many times, well-researched information, and also to be on the cutting edge, to still be operating in a virtual, digital, accessible flow without glitches space. Yeah. So any parting words, to encourage our audience to go and take a look at this exhibition?
I hope that you all go and, go through the exhibit at your leisure, so you can actually, experience it for yourselves. And thank you for going to our website and navigating it. Right?
To me, just go to the NMJ website, National Museums Jamaica website, and experience it. It's a part of our culture, and we are set up in such a way that you actually can get it from your home, anywhere in the world, to learn more and more and more about us. And this is just the tip of the iceberg to what we have in store. We are utilizing technology to the fullest, AI, virtual, in AR, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. And for young people, don't feel lost. You have a place here at NMJ with your skill sets, what you might actually learn in terms of IT, web design, and everything like that. But for now, just go check us out.
Well, there you have it. Please go to the National Museum Jamaica website to check out Sugar, the Bittersweet taste of past and present. Coming up for ACIJ in the following months, as you know, we're moving on to Christmas. So So we are taking it down, but we currently have our olive Lewin display that is available for your viewing. You can come by to the ACIJ Mondays to Thursday from 9 to 3:30 and on Friday from 9 to 2:30 to view the olive Lewin exhibition. Next year, we are advertising from now. We have our February program renamed Aya, and the theme for that year will be looking at dancehall male fashion. So just get yourself ready and geared up to come out and support us. And also, we'll be speaking at our Curating Culture about the different histories in Jamaican reggae and dancehall music. So until then, please join us for Curating Culture, where we curate to educate. Thank you for staying with us.